Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm Dr. P. Welcome back today for another video. Now, in this one, guys, we have some really interesting stuff going on at Polar Peak. There was a new update today as well. We've just got a ton to go over, so make sure you stick around, drop a like, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Shout out to the Fruit Faction for continuing to use my Support a Creator code. Here are a couple of the guys who have done so. If you want a shout out in the next video, just send me a screenshot proving that you're supporting me. So, the new update, version 7.2, went live earlier today, and just to briefly touch on the main points, the scoped revolver is now in the game. I think it's essentially just a deagle with a scope. I've heard that it's pretty good. I haven't played with it personally, but definitely if you have played with it, let me know what you think. Also, Glider Redeploy has returned to the game, but they've made a couple tweaks since the last time it was available. Now, it's an item that you have to pick up off the ground and carry along with you, so you're sacrificing an item spot to be able to Glider Redeploy. Plus, you have a finite number of items, so there's a finite number of times that you're going to be able to actually do it. From what I can tell, it seems like it's pretty balanced. If you want to use it, you have to give up options of healing or weaponry, and it's not like you're going to have it the entire game, you know? You're going to have a certain amount that you can use, and once you're out of it, you're pretty much out of it unless you find more. Personally, I wasn't a fan of the Glider Redeploy when it was first introduced, but it grew on me, and I'm glad this is a feature. I mean, it's making it so if you want to Glider Redeploy, go for it, but you're also sacrificing resources or weapons to be able to do so. I think it's a fair fit. Let me know what you guys think. So let's talk about the Polar Peak Castle now. If you actually go into the castle, into the part that's melting in the dungeon area, you can see that it's picked up the melting and it's going at a much faster pace as it was before. You can now actually go into the middle room a little bit because the ice has receded enough to the point where you can actually get into some of these cells without having to break anything down at all, which is obviously a good sign of progress. There is very significant progress going on with the melting of everything of this huge block of ice. I'm excited to see what's going to happen when we finally get everything back and we can walk fully in this room with no ice blocking it at all. However, this isn't the biggest thing we have to talk about regarding Polar Peak's castle. I got a lot of tweets early this morning after the update went live talking about a strange floating sphere above Polar Peak, and sure enough, there it is. You can see I started to build up to it, and there are a lot of noticeable things about this. First of all, you can see that it actually is forming a lot of like snow, a bunch of spiraling snow, so it looks like it's snowing more than it once was at Polar Peak just based on what we're seeing from this sphere. If you get close to it, your screen starts to freeze up. You can't actually see your screen that well, and it does appear as though the item, the sphere right here, is a solid, because if you see me in a second build and get right under it and start jumping on it, it won't let me jump through it, so it's a solid. It's a very clear, important item to the storyline of Polar Peak. There is actually also a distinct auditory cue coming from this sphere, and if you run it into a spectrogram, which essentially just allows you to see the audio waves of a certain sound, you can see there is very clearly the Ice King's castle showing up inside the spectrogram. Another hint that the Ice King is hard at work here. Another thing that I noticed, it seems like it is directly above the area that the Infinity Blade was previously able to be accessed. You can see this huge chunk of ice that I'm standing on. That's where you pulled the blade out before. It seems like this is directly above, sending some kind of energy down to the place where the Infinity Blade once was. Now, it's also pretty much directly above where Kevin the Cube's fragment was previously found underneath Polar Peak. With all of the theories about Kevin returning and all of the clues we have, this could definitely be something else. Now remember, for the New Year's Eve event, there was a disco ball that looked very much like this that had a bunch of the cube runes inside of it. Obviously, we're seeing another item very much like that, another floating ball up in the sky, so if there's any connection there, I don't know, but it's possible. There's just so much going on in the game right now that, truthfully, it's pretty hard to decode it completely, but we'll wait and see what happens here. Is this something about the dragons? Is this speeding up the hatching? Is it putting more snow down because it seems to be snowing more? Is it signaling the return of the Infinity Blade, the return of Kevin the Cube? So many different possible ideas you could spin off of this, and we're not going to truly know until something actually happens, but for sure let me know what you guys think. There's something else that has happened today along with the update as well that's extremely important to the storyline, and I want to make sure you guys are caught up on it. I have previously made videos about the secret bunker over here on the little island in the snow biome, but it was previously covered up by a huge block of ice that you just couldn't break. You could get it to crack, which was signaling the eventual destruction of that block of ice, but it actually happened today in a really strange way. So right after the update went live, it seems as though the chunk of ice that was covering up this bunker had like millions of health, and it was going down by the second because people realized that you could hit it, and between all servers, every bit of damage counted, so people continued to swing their pickaxe at the ice, and eventually it broke. It took about 10 hours to break, just to give you reference, and then of course once it did break, it exposed the bunker. So what does this mean? What reason exactly does Epic have for allowing us to suddenly get access to this bunker and have it exposed by breaking that ice? Well, if you ask me, I think the answer truly lies back in Wailing Woods, because there's only one other bunker in the entire map that's as secret as this one, and it seems like they're trying to re-up on that whole theory of the bunker by allowing this bunker not only to be placed into the game, but by having the ice break off of it, and by having it be such an astronomically large number of health and taking so long, 10 hours in fact, to destroy. The bunker at Wailing Woods is tied heavily to a lab underneath the area, which has been working on perfecting teleporting technology. We know this because there's a huge lab underneath there that's been there for seasons that has a bunch of teleporters that are connecting different areas of Wailing Woods, and that bunker there at Wailing, I truly believe, is hiding something. There's a reason for it, and it's been 4 seasons at this point, and we still don't know truly what it is, but we could be on our way to figuring out what that is very shortly. So let's back up for just a second, and let's really examine what happened today. 2 huge storyline hints were added. One is the giant icy ball above Polar Peak, and the other is the ice breaking around the bunker in the snow biome. Both of those happened on the same day, which was an update day, and that's what makes me believe there's got to be some kind of connection, some kind of tie-in with the 2 different activities, 2 different things that happened. It just can't be a coincidence, at least in my opinion. So what kind of connection could that icy sphere and the bunker being revealed have? Well, it all goes back to what I said a second ago about the technology, and again, this is all just me talking in my opinion, take it all with a grain of salt. So the technology at Wailing obviously is teleporting. They even had a perma-rift underneath the lab they were studying, which is still there, and there's also another perma-rift at that same area with the bunker and the snow area, so that's another tie-in between the 2 places. What if that giant sphere, that icy sphere that's generating a lot of snow sitting right above Polar Peak, is actually a teleporter? Maybe a portal to some other distant icy world, maybe from where the original iceberg came from. That's just my first take, my first theory I came up with. There probably are a lot more, and of course I love to hear your theories and your spin-offs on what you think are going to happen, because clearly there's something going on now. There's something to keep an eye out, as if there wasn't before, at that island with the secret bunker. There are now 2, and I feel like there's going to be something explaining the purpose of the original Wailing bunker and the new bunker by the end of this season, or maybe early in Season 8. Epic is really ramping up a lot of things right now. The storyline is getting pretty intense. There's going to be a lot of stuff that comes out over the course of the next few weeks, because we're about halfway through the season at this point, and something has got to give soon, you know? Something's just got to happen. Between Kevin the Cube returning, the dragon hatching, the flood, all the different theories that we have, something, I bet at least one of those is going to happen. You know, I would be shocked if it's something that we have not even talked about at all whatsoever. I saw so many people tweeting me about this sphere above Polar Peak that I had to instantly jump on it and make a video for you guys and offer my initial thoughts. Of course, we're probably going to get more evidence to back this up further in the future, and when we do get more clues, more hints, you can count on me to update you first right here on the channel. Quick question for you guys at the end of the video. What level are you currently in Fortnite Season 7? I would love to see where the true grinders are, you know, see where you are, because we still have a lot of time left in the season to get that max tier, but just at the halfway point, I'm curious to see what you guys are. Thanks for watching the video. I really appreciate you taking the time to stop back by. Subscribe to the channel if you aren't already, and I'll catch you in the next video. Peace out.